need a second here. Well, I think we're live. What's going on, everybody? Just trying to fire up the intro here. But you know what? I don't even think we need the intro. Let's just get right into it. Welcome inside GameDay Winnipeg. Week 16 on tap with the Bombers riding a heater, 5-game winning streak, going to Edmonton to face the Elks, a place where they have been really, really dominant over the last number of years. The last time the Elks beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in Commonwealth was in Commonwealth Stadium 10 games ago, 10 Elks Bombers matchups ago, all the way back on November 3rd, a 33-24 win several years ago. Let's bring in the man you all came to see. I don't want to wait anymore. Neither do you. Chris Walby joins the show as he always does. Bluto, here we are, GameDay Winnipeg, getting things going after a bye week. We got 2 rested teams. The Elks have won 5 of their last 6. The Bombers have won 5 straight and sit in first place in the West Division. We'll look at the depth charts, the standings, the strengths of the Elks. Obviously talk about the season-ending injuries to both Adam Bighill and Chris Streveler, the new quarterbacks, and the Ford brothers going head-to-head. But what has you most intrigued about this matchup?
Well, I think in the beginning of the year, DB, I thought this was a bingo chip. You know how you get the free play on bingo cards? I mean, they started off 0-7, and I was like, this is not even going to be good. But as you say, they fought back. Jerry's Jackson, the new head coach over there. He's done a great job of really pulling this team together. They're getting great play out of McLeod, Bethel Thompson, who won't even be started even after he had 2 great games against the Calgary Stampeders. They're decided to go back to Trey Ford. And, he got hurt, I believe 4 weeks ago. He was 6 for 6 before he got pulled out of that game with an injury. They like what he brings. They like the fact that he opens up the run game, and they have a run game. They're number 1 in the league. So where I used to think this was just a free game, give you 2 points, it ain't like that anymore, DB. I'm loving this game because I didn't think I was going to love this game.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of those things, really, when you look at a team that now is number 1 in points scored, their offense is just going off the rack. Defense, well, they're not bad. I mean, they picked up AC Leonard, which is crazy. I can't believe the guy wasn't even playing anywhere. Led the team with 12 sacks last year. I think he fell out of favor with Chris Jones, the old coach. But, man, that's a nice addition as a defensive end to the Elks, and I still don't like that. I hope they go back to the Eskimos. I know that's wishful thinking. Maybe the new owners eventually will go back to it. I like
Possibly.
that.
Yeah.
But you never know. But anyway, yeah, so going back to what I say, just to kind of summarize that, DB, this is a game I'm actually excited about watching now.
Well, and it's a home-and-home series, too. They're going to play each other again next week back in Winnipeg. That's a Friday night game, but this one going Saturday, 6 o'clock Winnipeg time at Commonwealth. And what, Chris, in your experience, what goes into those games where you play that same team 2 weeks in a row? Mike O'Shea has talked about how some of the prep is already done, the pre-scout and that sort of things. But what goes into that first matchup when you play it? You know you got to face that team again in 6 days.
You don't even give a rat's behind about what they do second game. It's about winning the game 1-0. That's their story. They want to play good. They're going to go out there and open the whole playbook up. I mean, obviously, there's 2 things. Key component on offense, bud. But, I mean, I regress, Walby. Pull it back. Let's talk about your question, DB. Anyway, I think they just want to go 1-0, and then when they play next week, it'll be fixing the mistakes they made in game 1. What can they take advantage from the film in game 1? And that goes both ways. But, yeah, the coaches get a little bit of a rest because you're preparing the players for the same thing. So you're not going to change the entire playbook. I think they usually give the guys an extra day off. It'll be interesting to see. But the point I was getting all jacked about was this. You mentioned right off the top of the show, 2 huge losses in Streveler, who's gone for the year with 3, I guess he blew 3 ligaments in his knee. Mm-hmm. And I don't care. You can't replace the strength in the horse. He's a horse in short yardage. You know what? He's a jack. He just gets everybody fired up. And then on defense, my God, Adam Bighill, the leader of that defense, the quarterback of that defense. Now they're going to have to go with Tony Jones, who's got 21 tackles, but Is he going to be able to fill the shoes of number 4, Bighill? I don't know. Going against a team like the Elks who like to run that ball down your throat. This is going to be a real matchup I want to watch just because of that.
Well, and looky here. Who is back but Kyrie Wilson at weak side linebacker? Comes off the 6-game injured list. Oh, just in time to give the Winnipeg Blue Bombers second level of their defense some great veteran leadership in the absence now, second game in a row, and for the rest of the season with Adam Bighill's injury. It was Bighill announcing himself, as has kind of become commonplace in the CFL this year, really in pro sports, announcing on his own Instagram account that his season was done. He was going to have season-ending surgery on his knee. And it was Chris Streveler just over a week ago that did the same thing, saying he tore all 3 major ligaments, 3 major ligaments, not all 3. Yeah. There are 4, but tore 3 of the majors in his knee, and that his season was done. When you look at Bighill's age, and when you look at the severity of Chris Streveler's injury, there's a lot of people bringing into question of whether we will see these guys on a football field again, or if we do, it might be at the end of next season.
Yeah, that's a tough question. And you know what? It comes down to the individual, right? We know that Adam Bighill, if you want to talk about Adam, he's a driven man. If you ever watch his off-season workouts, I mean, he's really into the flexibility thing, not so much trying to lift the 400 pounds in a weight room like was the old school. Now it is more about flexibility, making sure your body's in the right rhythm and stuff like that. Do I think he has an opportunity? Absolutely. But you're right. Age is never forgiving. And you know what? You recover a whole lot faster in your 20s than you do in your 30s. Yep. On the other side of the coin, brother, you got Chris Streveler. This is a real tough injury on the knee. You know, he likes to run. What happens now is if somebody starts to take the horns, or the bull by the horns if you want, if Terry Wilson becomes a force because he's got the good legs, he can throw, he's a great arm, he's got a great arm on him. And maybe he takes over that spot, and then they go, well, you know what? What do we do now next year? Do we stay with Strev? I think they do, but injuries are just the worst thing that can happen to an athlete, especially a year-ending injury, because it puts a lot of question marks on whether they'll be able to return or whether the club will even offer you the opportunity to come back. The offseason is an ugly time for players. You know what I mean? The bonuses that don't get paid. Yeah. It's a contract. It's how much money are these guys making? You know, with obviously with Streveler, how many fur coats can he sell? I mean, the whole thing, right? I mean, he's got to do a whole bunch of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a crazy, but a very great question by you, because clearly it is being individual to see how they come back. I mean, I thought it was interesting to kind of add on to this last point that I was listening to Coach O'Shea talking about how some guys get hurt and they kind of go into hiding. Mm-hmm. Streveler's kind of disappeared. He has disappeared. I mean, he's just not happy with this whole thing. And then obviously you got Saskatchewan, Myles Brown, and they're raising money to pay for his fine. And they're up to $1,500. He got a $2,700 fine.
Do you want to dive into that?
Well, I just think, well, sure, if you want to go into it, open the can. It's like a can of worms, baby. Turn it up, let it in.
Okay, I'll start cranking the can opener. So right. I was very thorough.
Donated?
Pardon me?
You donated?
No, no, I didn't donate.
I know you did.
But I was quite thorough in breaking it all down on Game Day After Dark, both the Collaros injury when Myles Brown hit him in the Labor Day Classic, and then the Chris Streveler injury in the Banjo Bowl. And I remain absolutely firm on that. I had no issue with that hit. There was nothing Myles Brown could have done unless you're asking him to stop playing football. Okay. I didn't see it as illegal. And the CFL did fine Myles Brown, as you mentioned. That all said, I believe this was a reactionary fine.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
By the league, not one that's punitive to the act. And like, look, I praise the CFL when they do things right, and I will criticize them when they do things wrong. And this is a little bit of a mixture of both. I like that they're finally, it seems like they're always reactionary. Why not be proactive, have a firm stance on something, protect the star players in your league, protect the quarterbacks, and then you don't have to be reactionary. When Myles Brown hits 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙯, he gets fined, undisclosed amount. And then when he hits Chris Streveler, they fine him again, this time a maximum amount. And it's clear to everybody. I've talked to football coaches, people that know this game intimately, and they don't understand how a max fine on one and another fine, a different fine on the other. I believe it may have been a max fine on both, even though they didn't outline that when they released that news. But to me, this was reactionary. The CFL saying we need people to know we're taking this seriously, and I think that's one of the reasons why Myles Brown's teammates are fundraising for him to pay this fine, right? And what's it going to be? It's a few $1,000s at most.
Yeah, it's a $2,700 fine is what I heard. But you know what? The thing about it is, I listened to Coach O'Shea on it, and I think he was being very protective of the player by saying that he thought there was a possibility that Myles Brown could have avoided it. But I'm with you on that, and the fact that a guy 6'2", 300 pounds coming at you full speed, it's going to hit, and it's actually, when you see the contact, it's above the knee. It's not below the knee.
It is.
It's just that the fact that his leg got planted, that's his throwing leg, and it was planted in, so there's no give. It's almost like when you blow a bicep, your arm gets stuck between two movable objects. It's going to pop. But am I happy? No, of course not. Do I think, he could have? I don't know. I mean, I've been in this game a long time, and I know that sometimes, when you chop a guy or a guy comes at you, and, momentum is such a huge thing in this game. And you got big bodies who are incredible athletes nowadays, and you're asking them to twist out of the way. It was like the one I watched.
While he's being tackled by the guard. He's being tackled by the guard.
Well, that's the other one. And it's like the one in Drew Brown. The Drew Brown, when he rolled into Drew Brown, the Ottawa quarterback, he was pushed from behind. He got fined for that one as well. I mean, this guy basically is playing for free. I just saw him the other day. He was delivering papers in Saskatchewan just to make up his money, so make some extra money doing flyers. Hey, Myles, what's happening at No Frills, buddy? Hey, buddy, I love you, man. There you
go. When it comes to Chris Streveler's injury, Chris, I think the positive in this all, obviously, it's a shitty situation. And it's a negative, no question. Yeah. Whether you're a Bombers fan or not, you don't want to see any player season end. Right. The positive in it is that Chris Streveler is young. He is obviously in incredible physical condition. And as he mentioned in his Instagram post talking about the injury, it's the first time he has ever been injured and wasn't able to get up off the field. So he has never suffered serious season-ending type injury before. And the other thing I think we all know about Chris Streveler is that this man freaking loves the game, loves playing football.
He's smart. That's why I said he's smart.
Yeah, he is going to be back. And while he is on a 1-year contract for the remainder of this season, and Adam Bighill at 36 years of age, also on a 1-year contract and will be a free agent at the end of the season. I believe Chris Streveler will be back. I think it'll be up to Adam Bighill whether he wants to continue playing. I wouldn't put it past him. If there's anybody, if there's any 36-year-old that I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to, it's Adam Bighill to come back from this. But it's going to be up to him of whether he wants to continue playing ball and what price point it would be. Yeah.
Well, the price point is huge. The other thing is he's doing very well in the financial markets right now. He's as a financial advisor, investor.
Wellington
Altus. He's doing he's doing really well with that. So, I mean, that's another thing. After a while, do you say to yourself, you know what, my body is not responding as well as I think it could, even despite my excellent work ethic. And I sent him a text today on a Twitter, just basically saying I think he can do it. If there's anybody can do it, I believe he can. Mm-hmm. Strever, same thing. The mentality, the attitude. He's young still. He's strong. And I read that comment here by Granny Bomber fan, which is great. Thank you. I didn't even know that Strevy and his fiance are expecting a baby. So that's cool. Congrats to the guy. It's a crappy way to get to spend more time with your fiance and your baby, but At least there's a positive. You're not sitting in a dark closet. You know what I mean? Wondering what's going to happen. Here he is right here. You're going to show the replay, I bet. So
here's Myles Brown.
He's going on the ground.
He hits him above the knee. You can see the bump of the kneecap right there. You can see the bump of the kneecap here. I'll put the little bar right below the kneecap. You can see the kneecap there.
Yeah.
Oops. This is a legal hit. This is a legal hit. And
he just got his leg up. That's the thing. Exactly like I said.
It's just unfortunate that those things happen in football.
Who did he blow through? If you play that again, I would love to see it because he looked like he blew right through that one. I think it was the left guard. I don't believe
it's
it was
left
the center,
guard, or because they're going like a crazy jumbo tight end set here. I think
he's going there. There's Chris calling out. Oh, it's 90. He's going against.
I think it's between Dobson and Vanterpool. I can't make it out, but it's this player right here. He's got his arm wrapped around him.
Okay. Yeah, that's him right there. Yeah, you're right.
And
is that Kendall? No, Kendall's playing tackle. It doesn't matter anyway.
There's the left hand hauling, tackling Myles Brown down. So there's nothing Myles Brown can do here. There's his back leg horizontal to the ground, and there's not much he can do at that point but continue to try to tackle the quarterback. Chris Streveler has the ball. There's nothing illegal about this. And he hits him above the knee.
Yeah. I mean, it's very unfortunate. I mean, that's just the thing. When you got a leg that's going through and you can't get it back and it's stuck in the turf, and you can see right there, he grabs it and it's done. I mean, once you tear it, and I've done that. I've torn my ACL. It's not fun. It isn't fun. It's
How long did it take you to come back from that, Chris? Torn ACL?
A whole year. Actually, I came back to training camp the next year, which would have been my 17th year. And that was the year that Jeff Reinbold took over. And Reinbold and me would yell at each other. When he used to be a special team coach on BC, he'd yell at me, "Hey, you fat effing fucking stop fucking effing holding." Because he'd say, "Hold me," he'd swear at me all the time. So we had a little battle going. So when he became the head coach, and I think I've said this before in one of the shows maybe last year, he phoned Vic Stevenson in Saskatchewan and told Vic, "I want to bring you in to replace Walby." Like, I knew he didn't want me there. He said they pulled me into the office, and the offensive line coach, who was going to be coaching, said, "I heard you're a bit of a rebel. You like to call plays in the huddle. You march to your own drum."
Yeah.
And he was basically ripping the crap out of me. I left that meeting thinking, this is not fun. And that's why when the CBC came up, I thought to myself, this is something I got to do. But having said that, I did get to work with Reinbold, Reinbold in CBC, and I got to him. And he never would admit it till one day we were drinking beers together, and he actually admitted it then. And he knew, so I knew. But yeah, it's just crappy. But I took me I had a great trainer, Jeff, and he took care of me. And I was in better shape coming back the next year than I was when I left. But ifs and buts, candies and nuts, it didn't work out. And that's the way it is, baby. But it's never fun. The rehab is going to be a difficult thing. Once the swelling goes down and the surgery happens, and I didn't even get surgery. The club didn't even give me surgery. It's still torn to this day. They just made you go and play. Back then, that's why I love about the CFL now. They take care of the players.
They do.
Back then, not a whole lot, buddy. I mean, it's when I'm thinking about it right now, it actually kind of, excuse my language, pisses me off a little bit because, the things they do to make you play. It's like you said, that was the line, and it's not the same way. But back then, the line was you don't make the club in a tub.
Yeah.
And if you're in the room, they want to get rid of you.
Want to welcome in everybody that joined us from Winnipeg Sports Talk, who are live down at the Hockey for All Center and Winnipeg Jets training camp day 2. I was down there yesterday and, fulfilling my duties for NHL.com and, working on some things here for Bonfire Sports as well with the Jets. We've been talking about the injury to Chris Streveler, the fine to Myles Brown, as well as Well, Streveler's injury is one that will end his season. Same too with Adam Bighill. So if you wanted to catch more of that, you can rewind a little bit, or continue watching live here and enjoy us in the live chat. But welcome everybody from WST. This is GameDay Winnipeg on Bonfire Sports, your live Bombers pregame show, as we always do the day before the game, preseason, regular season, postseason, all the way through to the 111th Grey Cup. I will be there in Vancouver, still trying to twist Chris Walby's massive arm to join me there. But we'll see how that shakes out.
I know what you got to find time, man. You with the Jets and the basketball and the baseball and the whatever you name. You're into everything right now, man. You're taking up strip dancing. I mean, now you got everything covered right now, buddy. You're making a lot of money, eh?
Oh yeah, lots of cash, lots of cash. Back in the Bombers,
bills here, boy.
Back in the Bombers lineup this week, while there obviously will be no Chris Streveler for the rest of the season, no Adam Bighill, he missed last week as well. 𝘽𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙯 returns to the lineup as the team cut Josh Johnson, who started the last 10 games for Winnipeg. 𝘽𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙯, who is he? Well, he's the young man who stepped in for the injured Kenny Lawler in week 2. 𝘽𝙤𝙧𝙯, a rookie, had 111 yards in his CFL debut. He is back and will start at slot back with Lucky Whitehead returning kicks and backing him up there. Obviously, good to see Stanley Bryant back starting at left tackle. Jake 𝙎𝙤𝙧𝙯 signed this past week along with Byron Scott and Darren Granger. Those two remain on the practice roster. 𝙎𝙎𝙧𝙯 will, I think, really firmly hold the clipboard this week, Chris. It will be Terry Wilson, the rookie who has been dressed for every game this year. He'll handle short yardage duties behind Zach Collaros. Tony Jones moves to middle linebacker, as we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but great news to have Kyrie Wilson back off the 6-game injured list. He's missed a lot of time this year, but Wilson, man, incredibly underrated, outstandingly talented football player. If you can't have Adam Bighill, I think you're pretty comfortable when you have Kyrie Wilson in your linebacking core.
Well, I think it's great to get Kyrie back, but you should temper that enthusiasm a little bit by the fact that he hasn't played for a while. It takes a while to go back when the bullets are live again, and you're not in practice, you're not hitting anybody, and all of a sudden you start hitting again, and he's got to get that first or second hit out of his body to know that he's okay. Because there's a little bit in the back of your mind going, man, I can't get hurt again. Until you smack somebody, you go, ha, baby, I'm back, as I knock the pants right off you. And that's how it takes, man. So it's good. But I'm glad he's back. I think it's a great move. I am nervous, though, boys. I am nervous. I'm not going to deny it. They got some great running backs in this. Justin Rankin, and I like Kevin Brown. I think he's a horse. The way he's been running lately. And Trey Ford, okay, let's ask you this there, DB. If you look at what McLeod Bethel-Thompson did the last 2 games, and the last games he's played, he's got 19 touchdowns, he's got 9 interceptions, but he's thrown the ball extremely well in the last 2 games. He's really played well. But Jarius Jackson said, I want this guy. I think he's a great quarterback. Whatever Chris Jones did, and said, I don't want to play him. I think Chris Jones made a major mistake. This guy's a talent. He's a diamond in the rough. I really do believe that too. He can throw a ball. Does he have the experience? Not a ton. But he's super talented, as Lemon Straw says. I agree with you 100%.
Well, hey, if you're going up against a Bombers defense with
with a what? Your microwave. Hey, your microphone.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. When you're going up against a Bombers defense that has a ton of ability to get to quarterbacks, even though they don't rush a lot of players, it's those coverage sacks. To have Trey Ford and his escape ability and ability to do things with his legs, Winnipeg might have to change the way that they rush the quarterback. Over the last couple of weeks, they weren't facing particularly mobile quarterbacks, so they could just rush 3 and drop 8 players into coverage. I don't know if they can do that against Edmonton and Trey Ford. They're going to have to change things up.
Well, it's interesting you say that, too, because I was listening to the interview with Kevin Brown, and he goes, it's interesting. Everybody thinks that because Trey's in there, he's going to just take off every time, as a young quarterback does. They get one read, happy feet, take off. He's only ran the ball 12 times this year. They say he's holding on to more. He's trying to get to his first and secondary read all the time. That's the development of a quarterback. The nicest thing about him is he's got a good quarterback room. There's a familiar place there. Our name right there with Dakota Prukop. You know, I mean, that guy was a stud for us too. Mm-hmm. And then you got Bethel Thompson, and I really like McLeod Bethel Thompson. He won a Grey Cup with Toronto, went down to the league in the States, won a championship with them, had a real rough start, but I think it's really coming on. And they guys, when you got a young guy like Trey, it's nice to have somebody else there, much like Terry Wilson, much like Chris Streveler were leading on Zach Collaros.
Or like Drew Brown had in Zach Collaros.
Absolutely. There it is. So I like that effect. And I know we haven't talked about it, but I think it's going to be kind of interesting to watch Trey Ford going against, and I didn't even know he was a twin brother. I knew they were brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tyrell Ford, who's leading the Bombers with 6 interceptions. That is going to be a great matchup.
Leads the CFL with 6 interceptions, tied with Roland Milligan, of course.
Who's not playing this next game. He's left the game. Also, his wife is expecting, so they're letting him go to be with his wife at this important time in their life. So it's kind of cool.
But anyway. Trey Ford has a ton of talent around him. We know Geno Lewis, one of the highest paid players in the league, and deservedly so. Curly Gittens Jr., the Canadian star who signed as a free agent over from the Toronto Argonauts this offseason. Gavin Cobb, University of Manitoba Bison, absolute burner with speed. You have Mitchell and Jones as well. And then Kevin Brown, for my money, maybe the most electric running back in the CFL. There's lots of good players around Tyrell Ford for him to work with.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Eugene Lewis. In the last 2 games, has got 12 catches for over 200 yards and a pair of touchdowns. He has come back to be the Geno Lewis. I found it interesting. You know where he went for his bye week? Did you read about that?
No.
He went to Morocco for a week. And Jarius Jackson, head coach, Edmonton's going, I can't believe he went to Morocco. It's a day travel there, day travel back. You know, all the exchanging of flights. But there he goes. And there's the Bonfire hats. And I didn't wear mine. But I got it from Schnitzer. He brought it to the Banjo Bowl, which I got to admit was a great game, a lot of fun. And I appreciate Schnitzer giving me that hat. I've got it in my vehicle because that's where I wear it when I drive it around.
Chris, spend a minute or two telling me about the adjustments an offensive line has to make when you go from a vertical upright passer in McLeod Bethel Thompson to somebody who is a lot more mobile in Trey Ford of the Edmonton Elks.
I think it's interesting you bring that up, DB, because 2 different dynamics, right? I think Bethel Thompson is taken off. He's actually ran the ball a bunch of times, but he's so good at reading defenses. He gets to his second or his third read and gets rid of the ball, throws it extremely well. I think Trey's a little bit still got that inexperience at throwing the football. We know what he can do with his legs. But having said that, he was 6 for 6 before he came out of the game when he got hurt against BC. He's one of those guys, I think they seem great things. Remember I mentioned McLeod Bethel Thompson struggled earlier in the year. I don't think they had the right talent. They had the right scheme. Even though Jarius was the old coordinator back then, it just seems like when Chris Jones left, the team had a breath of fresh air. I'm not saying Chris Jones is bad, but it just seemed like they took on a new life when Jarius took over. And they're creating that culture again. The Elks are having that culture where they're winning and they're starting to sell out. They're getting a lot of fans coming back to the game. Yep. But to answer your point, as I wax poetic about everything else, I think Trey may not have the ability to still go to 1, 2, 3 in his reads, but I guarantee he's still got 1, 2. And the reason I say that is because he utilizes his legs to get out of trouble. To your point also, these defensive ends of the Bombers, when you talk of Willie or Garbett or Celestin Haba, whoever's in there, you've got to stay in your rush lanes. He gets to the outside, he's got the option to be throwing or running. And that puts your defensive secondary in a bind. Do they come up to make the tackle? Or do they stay with their guy and let him take off? Yeah. So I like I said, I'm going to reiterate the first thing I said when we started this show. This is a game that I wasn't excited about, that I am very excited about.
Yeah.
It's not going to be an easy game in Edmonton. I'm telling you, this is going to be a tough game. We need
Yeah.
the Bombers' offense to really play well. We keep talking about the defense. Okay, let's talk about the offense. We need Brady. Look at this guy, Sean Oakman. I love that guy. I've always liked him. Elliott Brown. Pelly. They got Noah Curtis, who's
Jaming Pelly's got to be 360 pounds.
Well, yeah.
University of Calgary. Yeah. Absolute monster of a man. And there's AC Leonard, as we were talking about earlier, just re-signed to the team.
Yeah. And I'm surprised. And you got Noah Katner, who's got 6 sacks, the Canadian at the one defensive end. You got Niles Morgan, who's basically almost leading the league in tackles with 84.
Yeah.
Moncrief, we all know about Derek Moncrief.
Oh, he's good. Yeah.
They've
and 𝘽𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚𝙧𝙯 Purifoy. Hey, maybe the best athlete in the CFL today. And I think he will be the one returning kicks. Here, let's see who they got.
I don't know. No, I don't think so. I'll tell
you why. Because Javon Leake is out on the one-game injured list. For those that don't recall, Javon Leake was the CFL's most outstanding special teams player last season as a member of the Toronto Argonauts. And he has played running back this year, a little bit of receiver, return kicks, obviously. I really do think it will be 𝘽𝙤𝙧𝙗 Purifoy and Gavin Cobb who will return kicks, the Manitoba Bison.
Well, they also use Mitchell. They also use Dylan Mitchell. But I don't know if I'd want to put Purifoy back there.
He's done it before. He's done it this season.
Yeah, I know he's done it, but I don't want to risk the guy. If I was Edmonton, I wouldn't. I'm just saying I wouldn't. I mean,
he's kind of the guy they go to in a pinch. Sorry.
Well, you better pinch your backside to wake yourself up.
Well, maybe you need to pinch yourself, Chris, because you're not wearing your brand new Bonfire hat, which are now available for sale at 𝘽𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙗.
Yeah, I know. They're very nice. And Granny Bomber fan, yes, it's my squeaky chair. Once in a while, I'll find a new chair, or I'll even oil this one. But yeah, oh, here we go.
Yeah,
there's a half a one. Oh, is that a toque?
No, that's the hat.
Oh, okay. Actually, you know what? It's not a bad idea. Get some toques made for the winter.
Yeah, we're gonna have some toques made, and how about this? We're gonna have some sweatshirts made up, as well as T-shirts and hoodies as well. 𝘽𝙤𝙧𝙗 is an outstanding local company. I'm gonna type in their website right here, and if you guys go to this website, 𝘽𝙤𝙧𝙗.com, there it is on the screen. I'll make it nice and big for everybody, and you'll be able to order all types of stuff in the Bonfire collection. So you go to 𝘽𝙤𝙧𝙗.com, you go to collections right here, and then you go down to the Bonfire collection, and you'll find our hat. They're available right now for order. Charge paid delivery or free pickup inside the city. And as I mentioned, T-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts coming as well. So
where's the Walby shirt?
I got your shirts. I had to go special and get some 4Xs.
Oh, where is Walby shirt? Bonfire Sports with Chris Walby. I want to wear that so I can say, hey, I actually was on that show. They're going to bury me in the casket. I'm going to say, thank you, Lord. I've just had a best thing I ever had in my life. I was on Bonfire Sports with DB, who works 72 jobs.
Yeah. I don't have it there now, but I'm going to put the link directly to the Bonfire Hat purchase page in the video description below. So if you're watching this afterwards, that'll be down below. You can find it on my Twitter as well as the Bonfire Sports Twitter. You can follow all of our social medias at Bonfire WPG, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, wherever you get your stuff. No TikTok. You are welcome. People love the Bonfire Hat. Chris, I've been getting people texting like mad. I think I spent 45 minutes returning texts just before we hopped on the show. So that's why I was a couple minutes late. Did you know that?
No, but I can understand it. I mean, they're a hot item. I mean, I've got 2. I got the original, and I found that. My kids stole it. I got it back from them. And then I got the new one. So I'm kind of happy with the little bonfire on the side. It looks good, man.
Yeah.
I like that. And, I'm a baseball hat guy. I always wear hats. So to me, it's nice to go around there. And I like that. T-Will, pretty funny. 2 double XLs to make the Walby shirt. You're right, buddy. 3X to 4X. That's what I need, man.
And these are the most comfortable hats you will ever wear. It's a Flex Fit 110. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a flex to it. and a Velcro closure. So you're going to be able to close it exactly to your liking. I wanted these hats to be one that are going to be comfortable and stylish for really everybody and their style. That's a raised stitching on the Bonfire as well. These hats are like, mark my words, these hats are so comfy. You're going to want to wear them every single day. I'm telling you that right now. I even had a guy in 𝘎𝙤𝙪 reach out, Chris, and he said, maybe ironic, his name is Rich. He said, I want 10 hats. I'm like, are you serious? And he goes, okay, I want 5. I'm like, okay. Ordered up 5 Bonfire hats for him and his friends.
When are you going to be on Shark Tank?
Well, that's a good question.
Wait, you're doing all that stuff. A little hat, figure a little special. You say you breathe. You want to wear them. And then I can see the chick there. She's on QVC. DB, I like where you're going, baby. All right. I think we can make $1 million.
Maybe I can sell some ShamWows or some.
Wow, I love that commercial, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on the game.
So we looked at Edmonton's depth chart. We took a quick peek at Winnipeg's depth chart. Changes on the defense we mentioned with Bighill out for the season. Kyrie Wilson back at weak side linebacker. Tony Jones, who I think has been playing quite well, kicking over to middle. The back end of the defense remains unchanged. Jake Kelly has been a little bit nicked up, but he's still there and contributing on special teams. The Hallett brothers back in as well. But on offense, Drew Wolodarski, who came back after missing a handful of games. He is now on the 6-game injured list. So Kevin Clercius, once again, will start at that Canadian Z receiver spot in the Blue Bombers offense. But Chris, this is the bigger question. Well, of course, Stanley Bryant. Failed to mention maybe the most important player they get back, protecting Zach Collaros' blind side. But what do you see in Zach Collaros this year? There's been so much said about maybe a regression in his level of play, if he still has it, the arm, the accuracy, the consistency. I have a strong opinion on this, but I would really like yours.
I think he's fine. I think he's okay. I think in the beginning of the year with all the injuries, new guys coming in, new receivers coming in, new O-line coming in, there's no continuity. The chemistry wasn't there yet. I think he's getting stronger as a game. I think last game was the first game he hasn't thrown an interception in 5 games. So, that's the biggest thing. But I think the thing that I want to see is not only that, I want to see Brady get back into running a little bully ball. Last 2 weeks, he's really been held in check by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And I think that it's time for Brady to, break out again. Yeah, he's catching the heck out of the ball. He's got 44 catches now, new season high for him. But the strength of Brady is running that football and wearing that defense out. And I think I need to see that happen more. It's actually something I really need to see to take some of the pressure off Zach. Because I'm telling you right now, the defensive coordinator for Edmonton is the guy Shivers used to be with Saskatchewan. He's going to come after Zach with everything. They're going to bring blitzes like crazy. Yep. They're going to try and really knock him around, get him uncomfortable. So I think that even increases the need for, Brady to be a really important cog. And, the other thing is they've got to get good first down production. The Bombers are the worst in second down conversion in the league. They have got to get that better. They need to start picking up 5+ yards on first down every time. To go in second and long, they're not finding success. And that's something they got to fix. So I think Brady is a huge, huge key to the Bombers winning this game in a tough place in Edmonton. I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be sitting at the lake. I was going to go to the lake today, but then I said, you know what? I'm going to do it at 3:00 with DB this time from home, so I don't have to do it from the lake. Use my computer this time. I can sit here. I got a cold beer over there. It's nice. And I got to, after this, I'll head to the lake, and then I'll sit down tomorrow, watch the game, and then get ready for the rematch. What I believe is Friday, next Friday? Yep. It's Friday, yeah.
Yeah, Friday so back in Winnipeg at 7:00. That's September 27th. I do really want to
home games.
Hey? What?
There's only 2 more home games.
Yeah.
Unless they
you're right.
Yeah. Unless to find out where they want to get a home game in the playoffs. That's the one thing they're aiming for. So this game is very important, because they've won the season series with Calgary, BC, and Saskatchewan. Boy, if they can knock Edmonton off on that that just bodes well for them. And there's a schedule right there.
So this is
they always got to buy in the 20th week. It's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Oh no, two more home games. Yes, right.
That's right. So at Edmonton this week on Saturday, next week home on Friday, at the Hamilton Tiger Cats October 4th, home to Chad Kelly and the Toronto Argonauts, who have been very up and down, on Friday, October 11th. They'll have a bye in the second last week of the season, week 20, and then wrap up the regular season against the Alouettes, who at that point, Chris, maybe, have first place locked up, and they might even rest a little bit on Saturday, October 26th in their home
that
finale.
Montreal will. Montreal's going to rest. You won't see they lost a huge guy in Tyson Philpott. That's too bad.
Out for the season. He
was having a knockout year, yeah. I don't think they'll risk Fajardo. Maybe play him a quarter. It all depends. Same thing. But I'm not a big fan of that. I find that if you rest guys sometimes, it just feels like you're just out of sync, and it takes you a while to get back. That's why I said to you, going back to when you talked about Kyrie Wilson, who I do agree with you, most underrated linebacker, but hasn't played for a while. And it takes a while to get your feet back, to get that mentality, to recognize stuff. Everything's flying at you 100 miles an hour. I don't care how many years you played. If you haven't been on the field for a while, watch out. So that's what I'm looking at, man.
Yeah. Here's your CFL standings as they sit going into week 17. The Blue Bombers, first place, holding the season series against both the BC Lions. There we go. Now I got the right screen. The BC Lions and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they sit at 14 and 11 points respectively. Winnipeg has won that season series against both of them, but 2 of 3 against the Lions. So, and having a game in hand as well. And we just looked at Winnipeg's remaining schedule. Home and home with the Elks. Let's say they get a split because the Elks are playing well right now. That would leave Winnipeg at 8 and 7. And then traveling to Hamilton, that should be a win. That team is really in dire straits right now. Home to the Argos. I think that's a very important game to win just for, the psychology sake of it, Chris, because, losing to a team in the Grey Cup in a game you should have won a couple years ago, I think you want to win those games, especially at home. And then a game against Montreal in the final regular season week of the season should leave Winnipeg at least 10 wins by my count. They should win the West, and that would give them a bye both in week 20 and in week 22, this being week 21 against Montreal, and then week 22 would be that first round playoff game that the first place team in each division would have a bye for, that being Saturday, November 2nd. The division finals are on Saturday, November 9th. And then, of course, the 111th Grey Cup, Sunday, November 17th, where we here at Bonfire Sports will be live in Vancouver for that game. So the final stretch here for Winnipeg, very important. For me, Chris, the last time we saw a truly healthy Zach Collaros was the first half of the Labor Day Classic, where he threw for 219 yards in the first half. I think with the talent they have, they will progress into what's expected. And that is this Blue Bombers offense to be a lot better than it has shown this year. Losing Chris Streveler, this is my take on it. If the Blue Bombers needed Chris Streveler to be their starter, do you think they could win the Grey Cup? I have my doubts. So with Streveler out for the season, does anything really change? They need Zach Collaros to be the guy. And if it's not Zach Collaros, I don't see them, having a legitimate path to a third Grey Cup in the last 5 years. So losing Streveler for the season, I don't see it as the big hit that some people are maybe making it out to be. It's a hit. It stinks. But I think they will have enough in short yardage with Terry Wilson, 6'3", well over 200 pounds, athletic, and capable of doing all those things. I think they're going to be okay because it is Zach Collaros at quarterback, and they're going to need him to put this offense on his shoulders with Brady and with Dembski and Kenny Lawler to get the job done.
Okay, I'm just going to say 2 things to that. One,
here, bring that mic up. I want to make sure everyone can hear you.
All right, my friend. I'm going to say 2 things. And you're right, I was leaning back, was getting a little relaxed. I think that, this is where I really do believe in the 1-0 mentality. I don't think, Edmonton's that bad. I don't think Hamilton's that bad. I thought Bo Levi's playing lights out football. I think the Hamilton defense is playing well. Toronto's not a gimme. So as much as you say that we probably win 10 games, I say we should probably win 10, but will we? That's going to be an interesting thing. It all starts tomorrow in my books. I want to see how we play and how we respond to an Edmonton Elk team that's really playing well right now. If Bombers can come out and win in a tough environment, then yes, I'll say, yeah, we should clinch first. We should at least be in a running for first. That's what I say. The other point about Wilson, I'm going to say something about Terry Wilson. Here's my prediction. He throws a pass, short yardage, goes back and throws a pass. I'm going to tell you he's going to catch him off guard. He's, Streveler's, he can run like a horse. And everybody says he can't throw. I don't know why people say that. He's not bad. I mean, I remember he still went into New York Jets and had that incredible training camp, but didn't make the team. So there's obviously some inconsistencies. But Terry Wilson, watch, prediction time. He's going to fake a run and step back and throw a ball. That's what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yep. I agree with that, Chris. I definitely agree with that. Before we get into your keys to the game, do have to mention our good friends. So good to us, and they will be good to you as well. And that being Scotswood Links in beautiful Elm Creek, Manitoba. They have an impeccable golf course. And if you haven't had a chance to get out there and play it, it's just 25 minutes west of the city in Elm Creek, Manitoba. You're going to get there and home in no time, and it's worth the drive. A prairie, meadow, and forest golf course with immaculate greens. Everything is in great shape. They have had ideal moisture this year, and they will take care of you. And how about this? Their membership promo going on right now is if you lock in your membership for 2025, you golf the rest of the year for free. So go to scotswoodlinks.com and get that promo offer right now. Here's a quick drone shot of beautiful Scotswood Links in Elm Creek. This was I think this was taken last year. Things are a lot greener than this shows, but just to give you a gauge of the beautiful treed course that they have in the Manitoba prairies, that being just one of a handful of images that they've shared with us. Here is some of their banquet facilities. If you've got a event, they will take great care of you. A beautiful, beautiful facility. Just look at that. Look at those images. And of course, the beautiful clubhouse, the building you call Matt Dunnigan's house, Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah, not quite, but close.
Oh, baby.
It's got, and a great place to bring your family as well. So be sure to check them out, scotswoodlinks.com. Links in the description below. And big thanks to them for supporting us here on Bonfire Sports. Chris, your keys to the game, critical for Winnipeg to find their 6th straight win, build on that West Division lead, and capture at least one of 2 games against the Edmonton Elks, a team that's won 6 of their past 7 games. They're on a heater.
They're on a heater, but I think offensively, I said this already, bully ball. I need to see get Brady up there again. That's what I'm happy about Stanley Bryan being back. They need to run the football. You know what? Stay out of second and long. They're the worst in the CFL in second and long conversions. They need to get first down production. And you need to score some touchdowns. There was a great comment on the comment board, and God bless you guys for being on there. Yeah, you can't just live on field goals anymore. This is a team that they're number 9 in the red zone. So they're in the red zone, but they're not capitalizing or selling for field goals. Defensive, it's basically you got to keep Trey forward in the pocket. Make him beat you with the pass. Don't let him utilize his legs to extend plays and eliminate the big plays because he's got guys who can go deep on you. Eugene Lewis and Dylan Mitchell and Tevon Jones, who had a game with 200-plus yards receiving. Mm-hmm. Special teams, whoo-hoo, baby. They got a guy in Edmonton, Julian Jake, who's going to set a CFL record if he keeps it up, averaging 54 yards a punt. So you got to play that, correctly, and that puts a lot of pressure on the return game too. So it's going to be interesting to see how Lucky does. But I'm looking forward to this game, as I say there, DB. I think it's going to be a great game. I usually will predict, but I don't want to predict on this one because I'm going to enjoy it. And then whatever the outcome, I'm going to go, I told you so.
Typical of you, Bluto.
Typical Viking.
Yeah, typical Viking. Well, I know you have your bonfire hat. You better be wearing it at the lake this weekend. You better have it on the show next week. But for everybody else out there, hey, we're back here with live post-game coverage, game day after dark, as we always do here on Bonfire Sports. Be sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell. And one of the things you can do right now, we got hundreds of people watching live, as we always do. Hit that thumbs up right now. It helps us out a lot. And the best thing you can do is share this link with your friends and family. Even share it with yourself. It helps the algorithm. Of course, we're going to have that live post-game show. And Chris, you'll be back ahead of the Bombers Elks game on Friday next week, that being September 27th. So we'll get this going again on Thursday, and you'll be wearing your new bonfire hat, and people can check it out at 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙨.
I agree with you, buddy. And I'm going to tell everybody out there, man, like I said, there's only 2 more home games to the playoffs. So, yeah, enjoy the game on the TV tomorrow. But get out to the Bomber Stadium, Princess Auto Stadium, and enjoy it because we can't believe it. This season is going fast, brother.
Yeah.
It's going fast.
It is.
We got to enjoy the summer, too, because, man, pretty soon it's going to start. Well, even the leaves are falling now. So it's making me very depressed.
Oh, sorry. Chris, it's okay. There's a football game to watch.
Woo! I don't worry about that, man. Come on, baby. Let's worry.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got to head out. I'm going to back to the lake. It was a pleasure, DB. Always a pleasure, my friend. All you out there, thanks for watching. God bless you. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Take care, Chris.
Take care, DB.